My pregnant sister is trying to take over our shared house. I need to get out of here. You need to put her in her place.
Yeah. Sorry, don't see your name on the lease.
Yeah.
Looks like you gotta leave.
I, female 35, moved across the country, Canada, with my son, male 14, and my dog to start anew. I asked my sister, female 36, to join me in the city. She lived in a small town 2 hours south from where we live now. I accepted a job offer, as did my sister, and we signed a 3-year fixed rental agreement in a 3-bedroom house. By the way, this comes from CLuck8537 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So my sister and I are very different people. We have a complicated but supportive relationship. We have a lot of love and respect for one another. We also have some on and off codependency issues from our childhood. Things were going well for the first few months. We were transitioning into this dynamic, and it wasn't always easy, but we found systems and ways to make it work. Everything changed 3 months ago.
Oh no.
My sister met a man.
Oh, it's always a man.
It's always a man. And conceived on her first date.
All right. She
Girly
did
protection.
Not waste any time.
The baby is due in April. It's a welcome surprise. My sister is experiencing a difficult start to her pregnancy, insomnia, stress, thyroid issues. We have not been getting along. My son and I can do nothing right. It's the little things compounded. My sister is also quite entitled, openly expresses and reinforces this attribute with humor. In her pregnancy, it's been worse. There's little to no consideration. For example, she's struggling with the sound in the house. She leaves her door open for her cat and refuses to wear earplugs. Instead, she demands for my son and I to vacate the living room and kitchen at 8 p.m. because she can hear us. I don't get home until 7 p.m. and need to make dinner. Another example is that I had been giving her upwards of $600 per month in groceries. I have a lot of allergies and she wouldn't accommodate these allergies, so I would often need to eat alone and buy additional groceries. It hurt me to learn that she had her groceries supplemented by the father of her unborn child, meaning that she had been asking for money for groceries that were already paid for.
What?
My salary is less than my sister's and I have a dependent. She decided that the child's father, male 36, would move into this house with his dog and his cat and sleep in the foyer at the top of the stairs without consulting with myself or my son. This area of the house is not closed in. It's positioned above the living room/kitchen, an area that my sister has already deemed inaccessible between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. and also between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. My son and I are starting to get forced into our bedrooms off the entry hallway. They split up 2 weeks ago and he's still moving in. He's a bit of a dirty guy and my sister is type A. To put things into perspective, she has cleaned out his house and his 2 storage units in the last 3 months. He's not much of a cook or a cleaner. She said that I'm lucky because I get a benefit financially from this. I'll pay less in rent and I don't even deserve it. Those were her actual words.
Wait.
You're paying for her. You've been paying her food.
You can't say you don't deserve this.
This is ridiculous.
What?
I actually like the guy. I don't like the way my sister treats him, but he's a nice guy. I moved for a lot of reasons. My son was experiencing anxiety and self-esteem issues around his father. Never married, separated after birth of our son, in and out of the picture, whom had drained our collective savings account for the kids' education because of addiction. I wasn't able to secure a suitable salary with my education to get ahead. To be fully honest here, my sister and I had a hard upbringing. The only reason I stayed in our hometown was so that my son had access to his father, and well, a time came where his father's absence would be more beneficial than his presence. I moved so that we could start a new life and have peace. We are not experiencing peace.
Yeah, I have no peace.
No peace. I confronted my sister about the use of communal spaces and that she would have to find solutions to limit the way sound affected her. I confronted my sister about shared bills and have asked her to post the bills on the fridge and that we would no longer be splitting most groceries. I confronted my sister that I'm not entirely comfortable with someone moving in here. It's not within the rights of our lease, and we would need to communicate this with the landlord and ask to break the lease. My sister's response to everything has been emotional, reluctant, and avoidant. She simply cries, yells, and walks away. She claims that I am abandoning her. She sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. You actually don't deserve her being very nice to you with the way you're treating her.
No. I feel exhausted, exploited, and manipulated. It's affecting my work, my personal life, and my ability to enjoy life. My son is experiencing some anxiety too. He has sports and extracurricular most days after school, and I am adamant to discuss adult things without my son there. However, he has witnessed some arguments and knows that we are not getting along. I want to leave the situation. I know I have to. I feel like I'm abandoning her, not just because she tells me so, but because everything is crazy and I want to leave. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't agree to live with my sister, her estranged ex-boyfriend of 3 months, and his 2 pets. I don't know where to start, how to do this. I know I need a couple of months to save up first and last, edit, remove some details to keep privacy intact, and there is an update. But before we get into that, what are your thoughts?
We're going to do the legal way, the
Yeah.
nice legal way, or the spiteful, petty, illegal way?
Well, let's start with the legal way.
It's going to take a while. It's going to take longer.
Well, it might not take too long if you go to your landlord and you're like, hey, my sister wants to do this. And then the landlord goes to her and says, like, you can't do that or I'll sue you.
Yeah, this is not fun. Illegal way.
Illegal way.
So,
Fun way.
what we do is get rid of the dogs one by one and we give them
What?
to
Okay.
a nice home.
Okay.
A nice home.
Woo!
You were a monster. You would think
I thought you were a monster. I was like, what?
I thought that, but I was like, that's too mean. And then I went nicer. So I switched it. So we get them to a nice home. They're abandoned. The boyfriend gets mad at the girl.
Yeah, it's
at
like,
her-
wait, you
at
let my
OP's
dogs
sister.
out.
You let my dogs out. Why did you do that? Do you hate me? And then you get some hair strands from your friends, put it in his car.
But they're
Are
not
you
together.
cheating on me?
No, they're not together.
Oh, they're not.
They're not together.
The sister and
Yeah, they're separated.
The boyfriend?
They're like, no, they're broke up.
they broke up. Okay,
They're just
never
living together.
mind. Well, make it look like he's bringing girls there.
Mm.
Get the sister super pissed.
Yeah.
And then the guy leaves after that. Then we work on the sister, somehow get her arrested. Boom. You're good.
And there you have it.
There you
Some
go.
great advice from Riley.
There you go. That's how you do it.
But there is an update, and this one seems pretty juicy. Possible sister who has found the OP post. Poor Pid Noir. Hello, everyone. Entitled 36 female sister here. Just thought I'd give y'all my side of the story because no matter how flat you make a pancake, there are 2 sides to every story.
What?
Ooh-wee.
No.
Ooh-wee. I love 2
No.
sides. 1, I do not demand that my sister and nephew vacate the living room at 8 p.m. The request has always been, even before I was pregnant, to be quiet after 10 p.m. as I have to wake up at 6 a.m. for work every day. Very reasonable, albeit pretty difficult, when my sister has this one friend that invites himself over, gets wasted, and can't drive home, then sleeps in the living room snoring like a trucker all night. When I ask my sister to ask him to leave, after he's sober of course, she says, you're the one who wants him to leave, you ask him. But I guess I possess sole autonomy of the shared living space, so 2, she doesn't get home at 7 p.m. every night. She works from home 3 out of the 5 days a week. She does meal prep on weekends and has not cooked supper for her or her son on a weekday in almost 2 months. 3, she has not given me a dime in grocery money since late July, early August. We used to split the grocery bill 50-50. Then she decided that her diet was too complicated, so she wished for us to switch to buying our own groceries.
Probably turned like pescatarian or something and didn't want to pay for
Something
meat.
really hard. I have been purchasing my own groceries since then. I found out I was pregnant on August 22nd, and by suggestion from my sister as a type of child support, I started accepting groceries from my partner in mid-September. I have also shared this food with both my sister and nephew when they run out of essentials. He paid for 90% of the beautiful Thanksgiving feast we all just shared together on Monday. $600 per month, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And then C. Luck responds, I'm sorry that mom taught you that lying helps you get away with things in life. I'll keep praying that one day you're cured of this disease. Woo! 4, my sister suggested that my partner move in to help with expenses. It was her idea, not mine. I exclaimed that he's a slob. I'm nervous. I hate his dog. We're not an established couple. It will affect the dynamic in the house, etc. She stated it's likely still the best decision to make for my baby. So I relented and invited him to move in. I believed up until today that I still had her support on this decision. Ironic that the post casts me as the poor communicator who cries, yells, and walks away when I have not heard a single word about her not wanting him to move in until now. Anyway, I don't really care to win over Redditors at this point. I haven't even read any comments. It doesn't matter to me what y'all think, only what my sister thinks of me. It's so bad that she thinks she has to hide in her room or that I don't listen, and that she has to fabricate a story online to get some affirmations from absolute strangers. Sad how the situation has devolved because I love her and her son more than anything in the entire world. Remember, kids, communicate with your loved ones about your problems. Don't believe everything you read online, and always use protection.
I'm not really sure.
The thing is that we don't have any evidence on either side. We just have their word.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to know who's telling the truth. I feel like whenever we get a second person side, it's always kind of the feeling to like be like, oh, well, they must be telling the truth. But it's like,
yeah,
literally both people could, And
then it makes me overthink every story we've heard.
Yeah.
And taking everything they said for truth and not even
maybe
questioning
they were lying
it.
to me the whole time.
Yeah.
It's tricky. Commenter 1. Have the guy take over your lease and leave before the real madness starts. OP says, I think this is the best route. I had originally pitched this idea and my sister had said he wouldn't move in. A month passed and she decided he would move in. I originally said that I would stick it out until June, marking 1 year on our lease, but I just can't stick it out that long. My work and mental state are suffering too much. Edit, in all fairness, I have been fickle agreeing to this arrangement and disagreeing with the arrangement of the father to be moving in. It's difficult to think about my son or myself when I can clearly see my sister is in so much distress. Despite all the comments here about her being awful, she's still my sister and I love her. I will continue to support her, but on my terms. Her feeling abandoned is valid to her because that's how she feels and she's afraid. It's not as easy as walking away. I want our relationship to get better, not worse.
Okay, so...
she's like really doubling down.
OP is bettering herself because her diet, trying to support a kid, all this stuff. And I think they may have had like a lifestyle kind of split. Mm-hmm. And she's now not wanting to deal with things that the sister's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I give OP the pass here.
I don't know what to believe. They're telling me two different things. Commenter 2 says, you never agreed to live with someone who treats you like crap. She has zero respect or regard for your needs or your son's needs. She is choosing to ignore your feelings at every turn. As soon as you possibly can, give her 30 days notice that you and your son are leaving. In the meantime, do what's best for you and your son, not necessarily what she has decided she wants you to do, such as changing your habits and staying out of common spaces. Commenter 3 says, are you abandoning her or are you prioritizing your son and your own well-being? When someone tells you you're doing something wrong, examine what they have to gain from this narrative. Your sister is manipulating you, defrauding you of grocery money, infringing on your reasonable enjoyment and expectations of peace in your home, and blaming you for it all. She is not a good sister, I'm sorry to say. Please go to the landlord, let them know she has moved in another adult who isn't on the lease and asked to be let out. And there is an update, and I'm really hoping that OP addresses the sister's comments because I need more refute.
I need a neighbor. I need the guy.
I need someone.
I
need a third party.
I need a third party that has no bias to either of them.
Actually, they're both lying. And then you were like, oh my God. Posting on Reddit was an absolute wake-up call. My sister found the post. Ooh. Her and her ex totally berated me in a government building conference room after hours. When I was adamant about moving out, things got substantially worse. My sister decided he would not move in, and we would both move out. I notified the landlord to give him 60 days notice. I found a place for myself and my son. It's within my budget and absolutely perfect. With an exit in sight, things were starting to become tolerable. Come mid-November, there was still the issue of shared assets. So I braced the difficult conversation with my sister via text requesting to set a date and time to discuss things. Her actual reply was, suck my wiener, I'm blocking you.
Okay, not helpful.
I remember being shocked. That was actually out of character. My son and I got in late that night to find that the internet password had been changed with a message on the chalkboard that as soon as I dropped the topic of shared assets and prepay the upcoming electric bill, she would not reveal the Wi-Fi password. We live in an area without cell coverage, so I couldn't even message my sister to call her out. I'm not proud, but I went to the garage and unplugged the router and locked it in my truck. When she came to me, she was furious. I can hardly remember what she said now. What I can say is that she was very cruel and nearly violent. In that verbal vomit, she said, "You have no idea what I've been through. I miscarried." Oh. At that point, I asked her to give me a few minutes to process. I left shortly after with my son and my dog, leaving the router on the porch. I'm embarrassed to say that I offered to stay the night and keep her company. I realize now that in order to support someone, we have to ask ourselves if this is safe, if we have the capacity to offer support, and if this person has the capacity to accept support. She halfway apologized a couple days later. After that, she grieved independently and almost silently. My son and I grieved independently from her, being careful to follow her direction and boundaries of not talking about it. Weeks felt like months. The house was cold. Any level of contact or coordination was the beginning of a fight. In therapy, I started to unpack the events over the last year. I learned a great deal about myself, mostly in regards to my self-integrity. I've come to understand my role in perpetuating her controlling behaviors, my lack of self-esteem, which snowballed under our shared roof, leaving me in a state of ambivalence and complacency. I recognize the ways in which my sister held little to no regard to my autonomy, often using emotional manipulation to force my submission. I know this is abuse. Know that when she got cold, I got colder. I am not innocent in all of this. Someone once described us as an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. I think there are times where we play either role, but there are also times where you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Just search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit left, but we still really don't know who's telling the truth.
Yeah, now
I'm like back on OP's side a little bit.
Me too.
I honestly agree with you though. I think they're both a little bit fibbing. There's a little bit of fibs.
They
on
are, because you saw how, okay, she changed the Wi-Fi password. I go to this.
Yeah.
She definitely, and did you see how she made it seem so seamless? Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, she changed the Wi-Fi password, so I just locked it in my truck and unplugged it.
Yeah, it's like
Silly
these raising the stakes of everything, and
yeah, they raised them, but don't make them seem like they are raised.
No, yeah.
So that
I think there's probably some trouble on both ends of these sisters.
You know who I'm really worried for though?
What? The son. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like, we already know that he's experiencing anxiety, and if we have problems coming from both the mother and the sister, or from both OP and the sister, it's like must be really hard as like a young kind of kid.
Yeah, because kids know when there's stuff happening in the room.
And also, a lot of times people like this will try and go to other people and say like, "Oh, you're on my side, right?"
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that OP's probably been doing that to the kid, of being like, "Oh yeah, like your your auntie's crazy," and it's like, okay, but there's a little bit left. I carry deep compassion and love for my sister and remain forever empathetic. I remain optimistic that she will come to understandings of her own that will reunite her with her humility. I am terribly sorry for her loss and often find myself worried about her well-being. I have hope that in time we can build a stronger, more sustainable dynamic. I am painting my bedroom at my new place, even with my son on the other side of the country this holiday. I feel at peace here. I wish my sister had peace too. A day will come where we can overcome some of these hardships, but that day is not today. And there are some relevant comments to finish this story off. Commenter 1 says, you lived together for 3 months and you need to discuss the shared assets you acquired in that time frame? Okay, lol, something seems weird. Your sister didn't change her mind about her ex. You did with your relentless arguments. Oh, you started the battle for control by dictating who could live with your sister. OP says, we moved across the country with nothing. Furniture, tools, dishes, even the pantry and cleaning supplies. All these things add up. When everything is a fight, you have to discuss the right to take the rake if you leave the shovel kind of thing. Commenter 2 says, sounds like a lot of mess and hurt on both sides. You did the best with keeping distance, having therapy, and living in peace with your son. You're so nice for being optimistic about your relationship. I hope the same too, that eventually you both find peace. OP says, thanks for being kind. I'm keeping myself busy with my new place, trying to distract myself. And commenter 2 says, good. I hope your life gets better without your abusive sister in it. I kind of want to address how you felt that you were equally at fault for the fighting. I think it's completely normal to label your reaction to her abuse as being just as bad, but I also want you to recognize that your sister sounds bat crap crazy. I realize that saying you were at fault is a way for you to reclaim autonomy, but as an outsider, no. Emotional abuse will push you to great lengths for a reaction just so they can say that you're as bad as they are. I'm sure there's a lot of unhealthy family dynamics that you will unpack in therapy. Good luck healing and give yourself space and grace. Opie says, thanks for saying this. I feel like I am just scratching the surface in terms of my trauma response. I'm not fully accepting the abuse that took place, but am working towards it. Because my sister and I had a very difficult upbringing, we have been very much entangled. She's the only family I have, so it very much feels like a loss. I do agree with you that my sister was the and I was simply reacting. This I know to be true. I'm just not sure of my reactions at this time. Anyways, thanks for saying this.
I really don't know what to think.
I still don't know what to think. I still think they're probably both. I mean, I don't know if I completely agree with that commenter based off of everything that we know.
Yeah.
But also maybe OP was in the right, didn't do anything wrong.
I feel like there's abuse on both sides.
Yeah.
I don't know who to believe because OP did the thing with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And also.
And probably is also, from what we know of the sister, maybe OP's leaving some stuff out.
That's what I'm thinking because the sister brought up.
I think they're both leaving stuff out.
The sister brought up that she convinced her to move the partner in.
Yeah. And OP never kind of said anything.
Never addressed that. That's what I want to know. And they keep talking about what another person's doing rather than owning up to one another.
Yeah.
And I see OP on the grind of bettering herself with her diet. It seems like she's doing like therapy and getting that stuff figured out. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think someone's lying, and I think maybe both of them are lying, actually. But that is the end of the story. Let us know in the comments who you think is right, if either of them are.